Welcome to Financial Issues, where we help you steward faithfully by honoring God with your investments. Now listen in as we give you the practical tools and advice you need to become a biblically responsible investor.
This is Financial Issues, where we help you defund darkness and fund the light by investing with biblical integrity. Welcome to our Thursday show, everyone. Great to be here. Seth Udinsky, Sam Case, and your host, of course, Mark Manila. Mark, welcome to the show, brother. Good to be here with you.
Thank you. Boy, it's great to be here, isn't it? And great to be with all you who are joining us today. Thank you for coming and allowing us into your households, into your lives. And hopefully we can share some really interesting things that'll impact your life as a steward. And when I say that, what I mean, and my hope is that it'll draw you closer to Christ. Because what good is gold and diamonds and wealth and anything else if it's not drawing you closer to Christ, if it's separating you from that? So our goal, more than anything else, is to help you have the most intimate relationship you could have with your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And if you don't know him, to introduce you to him.
Well said, Mark. You know, folks, listen, this show is about you all. We want to it's about Christ ultimately, but it's you all who make it go. And so we want to hear from you. And for the next hour, our phone lines are going to be wide open. I'd encourage you to give us a call and do it early, 610-363-1110. We got a busy show today. Several guests will be joining us at various times. One of those will be talking about the potentially trillions of dollars lost to fraud since the COVID era. We were planning to have this guest on yesterday. We had to reschedule to today. Excited for that. Also, Mark, we'll talk about RSI, what exactly it is, and how it might be used, if it should be used at all.
Is it
when
a
determining
disease?
Which stocks to buy.
It sounds like one.
How do you catch it?
Could it be addictive? We'll have to figure that out. Regardless, excited for today's show. 610-363-1110. Guys, the big news this morning, though, I think interesting stuff is happening. It looks like the Trump administration is announcing new, what would you call it, Sam? Safeguards, new rules for retirement plans.
Well, I'd say it's a new option for 401ks, or for people who don't have 401ks. This was actually one of the very few solid, brand new policy announcements that Trump announced at the State of the Union the other day, announcing a plan to give the roughly 50 million Americans who currently don't have 401ks or similar retirement plans access to a government-backed option. Here's Trump making that announcement.
Because the stock market has done so well, setting all those records, your 401ks are way up. Yet half of all of working Americans still do not have access to a retirement plan with matching contributions from an employer. To remedy this gross disparity, I'm announcing that next year my administration will give these often forgotten American workers, great people, the people that built our country, access to the same type of retirement plan offered to every federal worker. We will match your contribution with up to $1,000 each year.
Now, a White House official told Axios that it would be similar to the retirement plan offered to federal employees called the Thrift Savings Plan. How that works is it provides access to a small number of low-fee funds that invest in options such as short-term treasuries and the S&P 500 index. So, Mark, I want to get your thoughts on this whole plan. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a bad idea? There's kind of part of me that's not sure what to think about it, because doesn't it mean that basically we as taxpayers are going to be paying for other people's 401ks?
Interesting thoughts, Sam. And I got to tell you, my first reaction is I love it because I love what it's going to do to Seth. He's going to be going through the ceiling. He's going to go and create with another government handout.
Yeah.
You know,
wonderful.
So just to see how he reacts to all this is going to make it all worthwhile.
Right next to
it doesn't matter how much of our tax they're taking from us to supplement those people. You know, it's worth it, because actually, I'm really worried about it in the sense that I love the idea. The heart of it is to care for those who don't have 401ks and don't have government plans
kind
in
of
place.
A skin in the game type thing. Get everyone involved in the market as possible.
Well, yeah, and the whole idea is to help people have the revenues so they don't become dependent on the government, But we've never seen that work. I've seen them build housing complex for people who didn't have housing, only to have to blow them up because they destroyed them. I've seen all sorts of handouts that went out like that didn't work. Here's the deal. When a 401k, when an employer matches an employee's contribution to a 401k, it's not coming out of your and my pocket. It's not coming out of the taxpayer's pocket. It's coming out of the revenues that are generated by the company when they run the company well. And to retain employees, that's part of their pay. That's part of their compensation for contributing to the returns of the company, for the revenues of the company. By the U.S. government creating a thrift plan, creating a thrift plan for non-government employees, for the people who really are going to take this are those who may not be working or may not have steady incomes. I love the idea of caring for people in need, but now having American taxpayers have to supplement and pay people who are not contributing at this point to any revenues. So effectively, we're paying people not to be productive.
Yeah, it's exactly right,
that's what I'm afraid of.
Well, I don't want to be guilty of the genetic fallacy here that a plan's a bad idea just because of where it comes from. But this thing was partially founded by a progressive economist, worked with Kevin Hassett back in 2021 to come up with this idea. So that does make me a little nervous.
It sounds fair, but it isn't fair to the rest of us. And let's not forget about the investment options here. Like the kids' Trump accounts. Is this going to be another good for America, but not for the faithful? Think about that. The kids' Trump accounts have to be in an index fund. Well, in the thrift accounts, the government accounts, over the years, I've counseled so many people that had the thrift accounts and they didn't have anything they really could invest in. The very best was the government bond fund that they had in there. And even then, I'm uncomfortable with government bonds since the U.S. has historically was the number one donor to Planned Parenthood. Now that's changing a lot with the Trump administration, and I appreciate that. But the only thing you'll be able to invest in there will be the government bond account. And what does that pay? 3%? So effectively the match will be in a low-paying investment, and that's not a good thing. So I have concerns about that. Now, again, we have this petition going right now for the kids' account. Once they get it for the kids' accounts, once we deliver that to Trump and his administration saying, hey, help us to have an option to participate in the kids' Trump accounts by giving us an investment that's biblically responsible. We have mutual funds like Timothy Plan that have index funds that we could invest in that don't cause us to compromise our faith or our returns. So give us that option. Well, we're going to want this option for this new plan if it goes into place. So go out and sign that Trump kids accounts, the kids Trump accounts petition on our site. Seth, exactly how do you get to that petition?
That's real easy to do, folks. Financialissues.org, and then just go to the Take Action button. I just dropped the link in the chat. Folks, listen, I don't want to be over dramatic here, but Mark, everyone needs to sign this petition. If you have not signed this petition, you got to go do it right now. Even if it means it shouldn't take you away from the show, but if you have to turn the show off for a second and go sign the petition to focus on it, do it right now. We've got to get this. We've got to get so many signatures behind this.
Actually, it's even easier than going to the Take Action page. If you go to the homepage, this cute little piggy bank pops up. It says, ensure Christians can invest in Trump accounts. You click on that, takes you right to the petition page.
Please do it. Please do it. And then send the link to 25 people you know.
Yeah.
Because we can't do it alone. The 5, 10, maybe 20,000 people that are involved in the show, we can't do it alone. We need more people. Let's get it out there. Once people realize, we're not asking them to screen out anything for others. We're just saying, make it available to us too. Yeah. That's all we're asking. Be fair.
Exactly right. Well said, Mark. And, Mark, I really appreciated both you and Sam, your concerns about this, the Trump retirement plan. I didn't have to say anything about it, but I shared his concerns. So it worked out great.
We saw the smoke coming out of your ears. We saw it happen. If this was a cartoon, you'd be bouncing off the walls and steam come out of your ears and trying to act like nothing's happening.
Exactly.
But you have a good reason to do that. We have to be careful with paying people to be unproductive. We've done that over the years so many times. We're doing it still with many of the benefits we have. I believe a nation like ours has the wealth when it's not stolen, which we're going to be talking about in the next segment, when it's not stolen, to do great things for people who tried and failed or who are trying. But to give it to people who aren't trying, then all we're doing is incentivizing them to be useless. Yeah. And I don't want to do that. I want them to realize the fullness of Christ by reaching their potential. And only in your potential that Christ has built in you can you feel the full joy of the Lord in you. So that's what we want to do. We want to help them. I'm concerned this does not go down that lane. And I'd like to hear what you believe. 610-363-1110, 610-363-1110. All you that are in the chats, do not hound Nelson to call in. Let's hear from, Nelson, you're welcome to call in, but the others need to call in as well. We'll be right back after this short break. 610-363-1110.
Every day, kids all across America are coming to school with some kind of hidden pain.
I've seen kids come in who are just so confused about what's right and what's wrong, just having no idea that God loves them. And this just breaks my heart. Crossroads has the opportunity to bring the Word of God right into the public school, to reach children right where they are.
And when we see that happen, we see God changing lives.
We want to see kids not only come to Christ, but pursue a lifelong relationship with Him. And so local churches are uniquely positioned to disciple those children as they become young adults and through their lifespan.
Crossroads comes alongside a church and provides that church with a club structure, curriculum, training, and ongoing coaching for them to run these outreaches in public schools.
If you are burdened for the children of America, consider making a donation to Crossroads Kids Club. For more information, visit reachourschools.com. That's reachourschools.com.
Growing up, my dad taught me so much. In everything we do, we have an opportunity to bring God glory. It's why I connected with Financial Issues Stewardship Ministries. I wanted to glorify God in how I manage and invest my money. I'm gifting a Financial Issues partnership to my son so he can honor God in everything he does, including how he invests.
For more information on how you can gift a partnership, go to financialissues.org/gift.
Did you know that an unborn baby's heart beats at an average of 120 times every minute? That steady rhythm, that precious sound, that's the sound of life. Preborn partners with local pregnancy clinics across the nation to help mothers choose life, providing free ultrasounds, counseling, and the gospel of Jesus Christ. To give, just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby. Baby.
How much have government officials actually been complicit in this fraud? Because some of them have gotten wealthy, or at the least, they've gotten campaign donations from the people who have gotten rich from that fraud. The story of the American economy in so many ways during the Biden administration bill is that the American citizen was ripped off for people who shouldn't be here and by politicians who should have known better.
Oh,
right on.
Coming back in with something that powerful. How much have we talked about this, Seth? How much have we been concerned that politicians are ripping us off? They're funneling money through all these fraudulent and crazy industries and all this kind of stuff, and then somehow it gets back in their pocket, or at least into their campaigns' pockets, and that somehow gets back in their pockets. And they have our vice president step up and say, "This must end." I'm very excited about this. What about you?
Mark. No, totally. Looking at it from a historical perspective, so many of the great powers of history, Rome included, and I often go back to Rome, Mark, because there are a lot of similarities between the modern United States and ancient Rome. But one of them was, in Rome's last days, you saw corrupt politicians getting into politics and just getting rich. And that was really that was really what it was, and that was part of the empire's downfall. Now, at the same time, by God's grace, there was a whole other societal force that was growing at the time. That's called Christianity, and so that helped formulate the Western civilization that we know of today. That, in my opinion, was the most glorious in all of mankind, and that's what birthed the United States, actually. So, my hope and prayer, Mark, is that we have Christian rulers like J.D. Vance, who have at least some level, I don't know where his heart is, but certainly friendly towards the Christian worldview. Hopefully he sees the seriousness of political fraud, and it seems like he's doing something about it, and that's exciting to me.
Absolutely. And I've seen numbers all over the board, from 300 million to 1 trillion a year of fraud and waste that is going on. We even heard President Trump say, if we could just stop all this, we'd balance the budget immediately. Imagine that our taxpayer, 50% of our tax-paying dollars of what we pay into the government are going to fraud and waste. And that doesn't even include the craziness of how the government runs itself, the inefficiency of our government, which I think Elon Musk pointed out very well with the Doge crew. And a lot of people don't know, but the Department of Government Efficiency is still up and running, maybe not under that name, but it's still up and running and still auditing different segments of the government to see
Isn't the idea,
what
Mark,
efficiency.
it's now been kind of broken up and distributed amongst all the individual departments?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what they did with it or how they did it.
Metastasized.
But instead of being a SWAT team, it's more like Secret Agent Man, I think, where they're actually putting people in all the different agencies to be looking at them and working alongside with them. And I don't think that'll work as well because, when you go in and you say, hey, I'm here from, the federal government to try and make this work better. Let's work together. Give me a desk. Give me these reports. And all of a sudden, after a year and a half, you realize they've only been giving you little bits. I'm worried that they, instead of going in and taking over the computers and downloading all the files and preserving the information from the past 3, 5, 10 years, that they're not getting the information they really need to make it efficient. But it'll be better than it was. At least we know that. And that's where we want to go with all this.
Yeah, good stuff, Mark. Hey, guys, do we? So, yes, it looks like we do have a special guest joining us today, Mark. We've got...
Well, yeah.
Yep.
I think that's very important because this new report from Mark Stricherz is very important. He's with the Center Square, and he found that the government may have lost trillions of dollars to fraud, as we were just talking about. And we're bringing him in to help us understand what's really going on here. So, Mark, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
No, it's an honor. Your report shows losses ranging from $36 billion to, $3 trillion in federal entitlement fraud. And that's huge. But how'd you come up with those numbers, and why is there such a wide, big range on them? That's a huge range, $36 billion to $3 trillion.
I went through 6 years of Justice Department press releases about federal entitlement fraud from 2000 to 2020, rather, to last year, 2025, and calculated all of the alleged fraud that federal prosecutors had looked at and came up with $36 billion. The General Accounting Office has suggested that there's actually between 223 billion to 521 billion, more or less, each year. So my numbers were low, but that's basically my story is kind of almost a conservative estimate on federal entitlement fraud, which is to say basically Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, which is the government's healthcare system for military members and retirees, as well as some SNAP fraud, which is properly known as the food stamp program.
And yet we see that a fraud expert recently told Congress that we're losing $1 trillion or more a year. And when looking at the entire federal government, does this sound right to you?
No, it doesn't, frankly. That sounds like not more than fraud. That sounds like billing errors. Sometimes you would get a paperwork issue. You get a check too soon, or you get more than like a couple bucks more than you should have. That'd be a billing error. So that sounds too high, but it's still everyone agrees. Well, there's widespread agreement among political observers that federal entitlement fraud is an issue. The question is how much. I mean, there are no groups in America for fraud. They just so.
Yeah, well, actually, I believe there are groups in the government that are for fraud. They just don't say it outright, and that's why I think this is just my opinion. But that's why I think the government hasn't done much to stop it. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a widespread view among the experts on the issue that. I just say cabinet secretaries, each one, but there's more than a dozen, should be personally responsible for fraud within their agency. These are, Treasury Department, State Department, Department of Health and Human Services. That would be the biggest because it oversees Medicare and Medicaid, which are two of the largest federal programs. Each cabinet member should be personally responsible when they submit documents to Congress, when they testify before Congress. They should be asked, what is your agency doing to combat fraud?
Oh, absolutely.
That's not part of the that's part of the conversation, but that's not what happens now.
Over and over again, Mark, I'm hearing that, the complaint is, well, we have obsolete systems. We have storage, our documents are filed in a cave somewhere on paper. We can't retrieve the information to do real-time assessment and stuff. Yet here we are, the #1 technology country in the world. We lead the world in technology. And you're telling me that our government couldn't put in systems that could do real-time fraud alerts like the banking system or like most companies do? They couldn't do things to find this fraud very quickly. I think that's all just misleading or outright lies from the beginning. And it tells me when there's not a system in place to do this, it tells me people don't want the systems in place. And if people don't want systems in place, there must be an incentive to them to not put them in place. What do you think?
Fraud experts would agree with you. It's not done. The fraud is far down the list of concerns among federal officials. Yes.
So what can we do about this, Mark?
Well, as I mentioned, cabinet secretaries, the federal government, the president should be responsible for combating fraud. The Trump administration has put out a position of Assistant Attorney General for fraud, and that was mentioned the other night at the President's State of the Union address. And that person will look over fraud nationally. So that's a start.
Yep. And having J.D. Vance, I have respect for J.D. Vance. I think he'll do a good job of anything he does. So hopefully we'll start recovering that. Imagine what could happen if we stopped just 50% of the fraud. I mean, that's just incredible amount of money that would help reduce the deficit spending.
Yes, indeed. Now, to get down to the deficit, we have to be honest. There's so much spending in Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security that even fraud is not going to combating fraud alone will not bring down the deficit significantly, but it'll be a big start. It's something that there's, as I mentioned, widespread agreement. I mean, among not only conservatives but also people in the middle and many liberals. Have mentioned how important getting rid of fraud in federal entitlement programs is. Now, this is an issue that had not been on the radar, for lack of a better phrase, a couple of years ago. But the Minneapolis scandal and Republicans really harping on that has now become a top tier. Well, it's a top tier issue.
It is. And I see it as I see fraud and waste and inefficiency as this giant dam called debt and deficit spending. And each one of those different areas are a big hole in that dam that is shooting out water. I know it won't stop the dam from collapsing, but every one we plug gets us closer to stopping the ruin of our nation from this overspending, deficit spending, and debt that we're acquiring that will destroy our currency and destroy our standing in the world. So I'm very happy this happens, and I want to see a lot more of it. I'm also very happy that we've had you on today. How can we follow more of your work?
Go to thecentersquare.com and write a story about once a week. I cover the federal government as well as the states of Pennsylvania and New York. And I write regularly about fraud. I had a story a couple weeks ago about the state of Florida's efforts often failing to combat Medicaid fraud. Now, Florida does a great job of combating Medicare fraud. It's one of the best, one of its judicial districts. Southern District of Florida is one of the best in the country on combating Medicare fraud, but Medicaid fraud, the one for the poor and elderly, poor and disabled. That's
it's like playing whack-a-mole, isn't it? You
Yes.
work on one, another one pops up. We're so grateful you came with us. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for the information. As you can tell by the music, we're running out of time for this segment. The number here is 610-363-1110. Did you hear something you want to comment about? Give us a call. The lines are open.
As a member of Samaritan Ministries, your monthly share is a gift that goes directly to a real person in need. While that share takes care of the financial portion of a need, medical needs are complex and include the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects as well. While the financial gift is important, if we stop there, we miss an opportunity to minister to the whole need of our brother or sister. When you faithfully pray and send a note of encouragement and scripture along with your share, those words become a vessel of God's continued healing and blessing on the receiver. And the impact it has is immeasurable, bringing glory to God and provision and unity to His church. Glorify God with your health care. Send a note this month.
My baby was like this big. He's like this tiny little spectrum of hope and this unnamed beauty, in a sense. It was poetic. And I saw his heart beating on the screen. And I mean, I went from, I don't want this baby, it's just a fetus, it's just cells put together, to talking to my child on the screen and feeling really protective and knowing that there's life growing inside. I mean, that sonogram changed my life. I went from just Candace to mom. I'm a mom.
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
Navigating through investment options can be challenging, especially when you're determined to uphold your God-given values. Every dollar you invest is a vote for the world that you want to live in. Let your values guide your investment decisions and help to shape the culture in which we live. Become a beacon of light and pave the way with biblically responsible investing. Timothy Plan, where faith and finance collide. Before investing, carefully consider the fund's investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the investment company. This and other important information can be found in the fund's prospectus. To obtain a copy, visit timothyplan.com or call 800-846-7526. Read each prospectus carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
the show, folks. It's a busy day. We'll get you in, though, but you got to give us a call, 610-363-1110. You know, interesting things we're seeing, Mark and Sam. It looks like people have been either skipping or delaying medical treatments due to high costs. We're seeing a medical financing provider by the name of Alphaon Credit found that nearly 60% of people reported postponing or avoiding medical care because it's so dadgum expensive. So helping us make sense of this report is Joel Noble. Joel's the Director of Public Policy at Samaritan Ministries International. I love when we get to have Joel on. Joel is a expert on this stuff, and of course, one of our dear friends from Samaritan. Joel, welcome to the show, brother. It's great to have you back.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, what do you make of this recent report, Joel? Why, people aren't getting the health care coverage that they need because it just costs so much? Why is that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when you talk about cost, I think a lot of it is once they find something that they think is affordable in terms of a monthly premium in insurance, they go to use it and the deductible is so incredibly high, then it's actually unusable. And that's what has been the problem a lot within insurance, is that while they may see it affordable on the front end, it ends up not being usable because of the deductible. And I think a lot of that 60% you're talking about are folks that go to use it and just find that the deductible is so high that they just skip it and don't go.
And Joel, what about Samaritan Ministries? How does Samaritan Ministries help people avoid this? How is it affordable?
Yeah, absolutely. So healthcare sharing is not insurance, so it's direct sharing of medical needs. So in a lot of ways, it's much more affordable because we cut out the middleman. The money's not coming into the ministry. It's going directly member to member. And so right there, it makes it more affordable. And also insurance, depending on the state, has all kinds of crazy mandates. You're forced to pay for things in your policy that you don't necessarily need. A single man doesn't need maternity. Some of us need hair transplants, but a lot of us don't want to pay for that in our healthcare premiums. So with healthcare sharing like Samaritan, it's the members in control, and there's a lot of things that our members don't want to share in, things that are outside their biblical worldview. And so when you're not sharing in those type of things, it makes it more affordable. And healthcare sharing with Samaritan is much more affordable than insurance because of that.
That's awesome. Joel, you'd mentioned some of those things that Samaritan doesn't support, like men getting pregnant, men having maternity care. I'm so glad you said that because, yes, men cannot get pregnant. That's good. Well, Joel, give us your reaction to what President Trump said regarding health care in Tuesday's State of the Union address. What are your thoughts on what he had to say?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of good things in there. And I think the overarching theme was that citizens need to be in control of their health care. And so stop sending the money to big insurance and give the money directly to the American citizens. And there's a lot of ways to do that. One of the ways that he's been proposing a lot is these health savings accounts. Sometimes he calls them freedom accounts. And so bypassing the insurance companies with these subsidies, giving it directly to the American citizens through health savings accounts. So they're in complete control of their medical needs then. The other big thing is transparency. So that was a big part of his first term. Give credit to Biden. He continued it. And Trump is continuing that by having medical transparency, posting what it costs directly on the wall. Healthcare is one of those things where it's always been, secret prices. We can go to the grocery store, we can go other places. We know exactly what a banana costs, but you walk into a hospital or somewhere, you don't know what that costs by and large. And so making those prices transparent, and more importantly is good fines and causes or consequences for not doing that. That's something that's been missing a lot, is that most of these hospitals just skip transparency because the fines are so anemic, they don't have to abide by it. So make those fines something that's a real consequence.
Joel, how will Samaritan Ministries be impacted by, because all that stuff that you just said sounds great to me, and it sounds to me also like there could be some positive results for groups like Samaritan. Am I correct in that?
Yeah, so we've been working, on the Hill there to try to be part of these health savings accounts. Because we're not insurance, our members have never been able to take advantage of health savings accounts. And so since health savings accounts are a big part of this plan, we've been working ever since, he started pushing that to make sure that healthcare sharing can be part of health savings accounts. If they're going to open them up, then just open it up for everybody. Decouple that from high deductible health plans that are insurance, and let every citizen use that, including members of healthcare sharing ministries like Samaritan.
Joel, this is my last question for you. Yeah. One of the other things that we're seeing with the Trump administration is this whole concept of Trump RX, basically trying to help prescription drugs be more affordable and more accessible also. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Why should we have to pay more? If Canada's paying less or these other countries, so having most favorable status like he's proposing will bring down drug costs. That's the whole point of that. And so if a drug company is offering this to certain countries at a certain price, then offer that to everybody. And so that is, fair trade has always been, a President Trump mantle he's taken up, and now he's applying it to RX, and where prices are often outrageous. So bringing those prices down will definitely help our members as cash pay patients. Having reasonable prices for RX will certainly be a benefit to our members also.
Great news. Joel, we appreciate you so much, the work that you do at Samaritan Ministries. Folks, you can learn more about Samaritan Ministries and the option that they offer, biblically responsible health sharing, amazing stuff they do, SamaritanMinistries.com. You can call them also. Joel, we just appreciate you so much, brother, and thank you for joining us today on the program.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. God bless. Folks, that's Joel Noble. Looking forward to talking to him again some other time. Mark, we appreciate Samaritan Ministries so much. I know you and I could go on and on about the testimonies of how they've blessed us. Pretty amazing stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're so glad we get to partner with them.
Yeah, it's awesome. 610-363-1110. Mark, we do have a couple calls in the queue, and I think we can get to one of them right now before this break.
Let's do it.
Why don't we start with Robert? Robert's calling from Alabama.
Sounds good. Hey, Robert, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mark. I'm a long-time member and first-time caller.
Oh, well, welcome to your first-time call. We should have a cake or something. Sam, do we have a cake?
You don't want to eat any cake that I make. I'd question that.
It takes too many candles on mine, I'm afraid.
There you go, Robert.
My question is, a couple of weeks ago, there was a merger between two tech companies. I don't know. You issued a sale order on one of them, and I don't know if I need to use their name or not.
No, I think most people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and we received 2.2 shares of the parent company in exchange for each share that we gave up.
Plus a bunch of cash.
Well, yeah, and that was the question too. Was we haven't received any cash yet.
Oh, well, it'll show up in your account. The brokerages will take care of that for you.
Yeah,
it will be dispersed.
I called Fidelity, and Fidelity confirmed what you just said.
Yeah.
That I would get an email from them. Being a foreign company, they have to verify that I don't have to file a tax return in that foreign country. And if I say once they confirm that, then they'll issue the cash or put it in my account. My first question is, I received shares in the parent company. Is that a company that needs to be held, or does that company need to be sold?
Well, if I remember correctly, the parent company is okay. We do have some concerns. Now, Seth is kind of our historian on this kind of stuff. But right now, Seth, I think it's got a couple of things we're concerned with from a BRI perspective.
Right, Robert. From a strength perspective, not terrible, but there are some possible BRI violations. There's nothing proven yet, Robert, but there's just some indications that we're looking into. Mark, for that.
So there's actually two things we're looking at. One is, what will this company company look like fundamentally and technically once it's merged and everything came together and all the spreadsheets are and their operations and everything? And number two, BRI. Obviously, number two really is number one. We look at that first.
Right.
So if we come to the conclusion they are not going to stay clean, they are not going to be honorable to our Lord, they're off the table. And we'll let you know that as soon as we know that for sure.
Some research in this company, and I'll say that some of those BRI concerns are actually alleviating themselves a little bit. I don't want to say they're completely in the clear, but this company is looking better and better by the day the more I'm looking into it.
Good news. So, Robert, we're really on top of that for one. So we'll let you know on that side. Being able to tell what this company will be like after their balance sheets merge and their income sheets merge, we can't tell you yet. We have to wait till that settles. So when if they go clean or stay clean, then we'll issue that and let you know. But then when the financials finally get merged, we will also let you know on that. So it's too early for either one of those to be answered. And I'd like to go a little more in depth on that. We really don't have to, but Robert, if it sounds like you have another question, if you want to hold on, we only have about 20 seconds left of this segment. When we come back in the next segment, we'll come right back to you, and we'll come back to all you who have calls, 610-363-1110. We have a space or two open on the call line if you want to call in, if you got an opinion, a question, or just want to say hi to Seth and Sam.
My wife and I help lead a Crossroads Kids Club, and one of the girls, she said, Mr. Dave, you keep talking about like you didn't really believe in Jesus and you were like dead or something, and then like you believed in Jesus and then you're like alive, and I want to receive that. And so we like just prayed there in our group to receive Jesus and owning this idea of life with Jesus for the first time.
Help reach kids with the hope of the gospel. Visit reachourschools.com.
In the last 10 to 15 years being in ministry, being married, something that has been constant in our lives is Samaritan Ministries. As we've moved, we've had babies, we've had different things come up, we have just been able to rely on Samaritan in ways that we never really even thought about before becoming members.
Our heart's desire is to plant roots and be in a place for a really long time. It's how we were raised. We see the benefits of that, but we also see the open-handedness of being used by the Lord wherever He calls, because we just assumed when we started pursuing church planting, the quickest way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And with the Lord, sometimes you find out it looks a lot more like this. And yet, Samaritan was with us through the entire thing.
We didn't have to look into, we have to change insurances now because we've moved states or whatever the case may be. And it's just been a real blessing to us in different phases of life.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Colleen.
We're the Gen X.
And we're Samaritan members.
Preborn is making motherhood possible for thousands of moms across America.
I found out that I was pregnant. My family, they were like, no, you're not having this baby. I met Miss Linda. She offered to get me an ultrasound. That's where I very first heard the heartbeat. It was really a great thing that I was led to the choice to keep him.
To find out how you can support the life-saving mission of Preborn, go to preborn.com/FISM.
The opinions and recommendations expressed on this program do not necessarily represent the opinions of the station or any of the program sponsors. Additionally, all products or services offered by the program sponsors may not be known by the program.
Mark, great news. A line just opened up, which means there's even more room. So get in the call.
Oh, we have a couple of spaces open. Right. 610-363-1110. Let's go ahead and go to Mark and take his question here. Mark, welcome to Financial Issues. Glad you're with us. What's on your mind?
I have a comment more than anything. First, to say I am truly blessed to be a part of FISM since I took over not quite 2 years ago. My portfolio was up 62%, so I praise God for that.
Praise God, Mark.
Well, we're blessed to have you. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so my comment pertains to earlier discussion with all of the different Trump activities that are going on, and I'm with you with concerns. one of my thoughts was, how about before they actually receive all the money, they have to take a financial class to learn basic personal finances.
I like people named Mark. They come up with great ideas.
That's brilliant. That's awesome.
Mark, that's a great idea. I really do like it. I had an idea too. Let me share this with you, Mark, and get your feedback. You know how Seth feels about Social Security, right?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Mark,
well, you'll have to learn that.
Treat.
Yeah. He's kind of right, but he's also way off at the same time.
Well, I'm just a little extreme, Mark, right? Well, maybe that's.
But he feels the same way about these new accounts where the government's going to take your and my money and put it into everybody else's accounts. It's a handout. He feels that's not good.
That even sounds like, it sounds like stealing to me, Mark, but I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
it does. It does. But it's not charity when it's forced, you know. Right. But here's the thought. There's a lot of people who feel like Seth and agree with that part of it, but don't agree, because I don't agree, because I paid into Social Security now for 55 years, you know. I think I deserve whatever I can get out of it, whatever I can squeeze out of it, you know. But I think there's a lot of people that agree with Seth, so I was thinking maybe we should get little buttons that say, I agree with Sth. What do you think, Mark?
I would love that. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Just think about the power, Mark.
All righty. Well, God bless you, sir. Appreciate you being a partner, and I appreciate you calling in. You got a good radio voice, by the way.
Thank you very much.
All righty.
I actually have taught a lot of personal finance classes through our church, so it would be favorable if they were biblically based financial classes, but that's not a reality. But some kind of class would be, I think, beneficial.
Yeah, there used to be some really good. Crown used to make some, and then some other people came along and gave some really terrible. They called them biblically focused, but they started with a verse, did all secular, and ended with a verse. And I'm not happy about those. But maybe, who knows? Maybe Financial Issues will come out with that course for Christians soon. Thank you so much for your call, Mark. God bless you.
It's good stuff. God bless, brother. 610-363-1110. We can squeeze you in, folks, if you got it. Boy, Mark, we're at a crossroads here, because we could answer questions, or we could go on a rant about Social Security. No rant on Social Security. We can answer questions.
No, Seth, calm down. Sam, you got your finger on the button?
Oh, I'm so ready.
We're ready. Mark, why don't we talk to Albert here instead? Albert's 73, and he's saying, hey, Mark, is RSI a good indicator for knowing when to take profits? I was reading when the number gets around 70, so he's referring to relative strength index, Mark. It would be a good indication of a market pullback. So I was seeing this on Schwab, and I thought it's a pretty good way to know what's coming, as and that's, of course, alongside listening to your show. He has a follow-up question there, but why don't we start with the first one, Mark? He's talking about the relative strength index. Is this a wise indicator for us to use when determining whether to buy or sell a stock?
Interesting question, Albert. And I'm so glad you asked that, because there's a lot of confusion about the relative strength index. That's what RSI stands for. It sounds like relative means it's compared to something. Well, it is, but not like we use relative strength here at Financial Issues when analyzing stocks. It's totally different. Let me explain. Relative strength is really a momentum tool. It compares losses against gains in a single stock or a single security. So it looks over a certain amount of time, and it compares the losses and the gains within that stock over usually about a 14-day period. It's more of a momentum tool, a momentum indicator that's measuring the speed and magnitude of price changes. So if a stock's going up, it's measuring how fast it's going up and how big those jumps are on average over the last 14 days as compared to when it comes down. And that's why I say that's why I say it's a momentum tool. So relative strength measures speed, and it measures what I call magnitude. When I say speed, it's how fast it's going up. When I say magnitude, how big those are. So I hope that helps with the relative strength things now of what it does and how. But what I would say, as long along the lines of whether I would use it as a tool to determine when to sell is no. It shouldn't be used alone at all, because there's other metrics that need to be brought into that. You can have a stock that has been jumping up really fast and got above 70%, which is where they are above 70, which a lot of people who use it like an indicator like that as a sell signal. But in reality, what if that stock started real low and its valuation is still reasonable, and its earning trends are positive? There's a lot of other indicators you should bring into that as well. So just because something jumps above 70, or the RSI jumps above 70, is not a sell signal. It's just an indicator that the stock is moving fast and in big leaps compared to how fast it's been pulling back and the width of those pullbacks. So it's just one of many indicators. And I would combine it with many others to make a decision. How often do I use RSI? I don't use RSI a lot. I use it as like a little flag come up and say, hey, there's movement in the stock. And then I dig in to look at all the other parameters, all the other metrics to see if this makes sense to buy or sell, whether it's dropped real quickly and it's down below 30, or whether it's moved up quickly and it's above 70. That only indicates that it's moving. And at what speed, and again, magnitude, not whether it's a buy or sell. You need to combine it with everything else before you make that decision. I hope that helps.
Yeah, Mark, that's really good stuff. And I would say also for Al's question, really the core of his question is when should I sell when I'm taking profits? And I feel like the answer is really simply when your allocation compels you to. If you're out of balance because you've profited so much, it's time to pare back. Just like we were, I can't remember if this was on the air or if this was off there. We were talking about, but we were just talking about it with a caller, and he had gone really out of balance with some mutual funds, and you were saying, pare that back a little bit.
Yeah. So as stewards, we use RSI as one tool among many.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. You should combine it with valuation metrics, maybe combine it with earnings trends and moving averages. But most important, like Seth just said, with allocation discipline rather than a standard sell signal all by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, is it fair to say that RSI is more a day trading tool than it is a long-term investing tool?
Well, it can be a day trading tool. I don't think it'd be a very efficient one, though.
Sure.
I mean, relative, you can get up to 70% in RSI and stay there for quite a while. That's what we're saying. If the valuation of a stock is still reasonable, if we see the trend is reasonable, if we see earnings increasing, if we see cash flow, if everything's looking good, why sell it just because it moved up quickly? It can continue to move up quickly, and it can continue for quite a while. So it's not like the engine warning on your car. It's just like you're more like a fuel gauge. It's saying you're starting to get low on your fuel. You might want to look into this, and you might want to fill it up, but you might want to make sure your gauge is working. If it always stays at a quarter of a tank, you wouldn't pay attention to it for too long. Well, sometimes the RSI gauge can stay at below 30 or above 70 for quite a while, and may not be the indicator you need to be using to make those decisions.
I don't know, Mark. My check engine light's been on for 6 months, and I've just ignored it. So, no,
I guess that's why we miss you when you don't make it in.
That's right. Mark, a quick question from Albert. His follow-up is just, which of our funds and stocks invest highly in AI? And I think the answer is more there are sectors that have heavy AI exposure as opposed to specific stocks. Am I correct on that, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, relative strength the idea of AI is incredible. There are stocks that is all they do. Most of them we can't invest in because they're not biblically responsible, or they're not publicly traded, or their fundamentals stink. Yep. So we won't, even though they're going through the ceiling. So we won't suggest people expose themselves to. Other things, however, in other industries like energy, materials, and those areas, could be good investments. And you can find those if you go to the Partners Hub and you look at the different industries that are relative to the AI and get in on those. And I really believe you should, actually. So thank you so much for that question, Albert. Appreciate it, especially the RSI. That was a very good question. You might also have a question, 610-363-1110, 610-363. Unfortunately, you'll have to wait 12 hours for us to answer it, or you could get in the queue first thing tomorrow morning. I'm so glad you were with us, and I appreciate everything that's happened today, and I hope you'll join us tomorrow. Thank you for loving God, and thank you for investing with integrity. God bless everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation gone under.
Thank you for joining us. This has been an